What is up, everyone? It is Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. Hello. Cat just came when I started filming. All the pets are here. You all want to be in the video, huh? And so today is a super exciting video because today we are going to be talking all about how to schedule your classes at UC Berkeley. And so I also have a general class schedule video on my channel where I talk about like finding professors, class location, class times, stuff like that. So I will have that class schedule video linked down below, and you should definitely watch that after you watch this video. And so if you are new to my channel, hello, my name is Rachel. I graduated from Berkeley in May 2020 where I double majored in cognitive science and legal studies. And now I am currently working full-time at a law firm. And so if you are a student applying to colleges this upcoming cycle, or if you wanted to talk one-on-one about your class schedule, then you should definitely check out Study Hall College Consulting. It's a team of myself and other UC Berkeley students where we specialize in reviewing college application essays and consulting one-on-one with students and parents. So you should definitely check out our social medias. On our website, we have a blog where we post weekly advice, and on our social medias, we post a ton of tips and tricks. So definitely schedule a consulting call with one of us if you wanted to chat class schedules. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So I really wanted to do a class schedule video for Berkeley because I feel like when you're an incoming student, whether you are an incoming freshman or transfer student, you really don't get a lot of guidance on how to schedule your classes and how to schedule them well. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, because for me, scheduling my classes for 8 semesters over 4 years, I have learned the tips and tricks on how you can get the best schedule possible. So for incoming students, I would say that typically students take between 13 and 16 units. So for the College of Letters and Sciences, you have to take 13 units in order to be considered a full-time college student. And you need to be considered full-time because that affects your financial aid and everything like that. So typically the classes that you're enrolling in, whether it's a breadth class or a class that you need for your major, they are typically 3 or 4 units each. So incoming students as a freshman or transfer, you will probably take 3 or 4 classes, which is how you get to that 13 to 16 unit range. For me as an incoming freshman, I took 16 units my first semester at Berkeley. I would say that 13 to 16 is definitely a good sweet spot because you don't want to overload yourself when you're an incoming student, but by taking 3 or 4 classes, you can get accustomed to Berkeley, the way that midterms are, how much you need to study, time management, everything like that. So I would say 13 to 16 is a good range so you can get acclimated to the university and also have time to join clubs. And then once you do get acclimated, then I started to take more units because you don't pay for Berkeley based on the number of classes you're taking. So if you take 13 units versus if you take 20 units, you're paying the same amount. So I started to take more classes because I was interested in a lot of things, and with a double major, I needed to take more classes in order to graduate on time. So I started to basically take 5 classes each semester, which was 19 or 20 units. So the next thing is phase 1 versus phase 2. So at Berkeley, the enrollment times are split into different phases. On your Cal Central, once it is updated, it will tell you what time your phase 1 is, and it will tell you what time your phase 2 is. And so during phase 1, undergraduates, you can only enroll in up to 13.5 units during phase 1, and then for phase 2, you can only enroll in up to 17.5 units, which also includes classes that you're waitlisted for. And then after phase 2, then it is the adjustment period. And then with the adjustment period, then you can enroll in more classes. So like for me, when I started to take 19 or 20 units a semester, then I would have to use the adjustment period in order to enroll in those extra classes, because once phase 2 caps at 17.5, if you wanted another class to get you to 19, 20, 21 units, then you would have to enroll in it in the adjustment period. And so with phase 1 and phase 2, you really have to enroll in your classes strategically, which is what I will be showing you at the end of this video, like how I strategically planned my schedule to get the classes that I wanted. So I've never really been on a class waitlist because I planned my enrollment phase 1 and phase 2 in a way where I would increase my chances to ensure that I got the classes that I wanted. But also with phase 1 and phase 2, it's randomized by your seniority. So student athletes and regent scholars, they get the priority. So they always go first and can pick their classes first in phase 1 and in phase 2. And then within phase 1 and phase 2, then it goes seniors. Those people get randomized. You might be like earlier in the week or later in the week for seniors. Then it goes juniors, sophomores, freshmen. So as an incoming student, as a freshman or transfer, I believe you're the last people to pick your classes. That makes it even more important to plan your schedule wisely because all of the current students already have had phase 1 happen for them. So when planning your schedule, I would really recommend to have a class schedule document. I kept a Word document throughout my 4 years of college. Keep track of all of the classes that you're taking and all of the requirements that you're fulfilling with classes. So on the screen right now, you can see a snip of classes that I ended up registering in. So on my document, I would just have the class and then I would note down which requirements that the class fulfills. But I would say that keeping a document, it is a good way to keep track of classes that you've taken and what other requirements you need in order to graduate, because you don't want to accidentally forget something and then not be able to graduate. So going back to phase 1 and phase 2, with the phases, some classes also have something called reserved seating. So reserved seats basically means that those seats in the class are reserved for specific students. A common example of reserved seats would be seats that are reserved for a specific declared major. And I say declared major because if you haven't declared the major yet, you wouldn't count in those reserved seating. So like for me, I was a declared cognitive science major, but for the cog sci major, you have to take classes in psychology. And so psychology classes during phase 1, only declared psychology majors could enroll in those classes, which sort of sucks because as a cog sci major, then we couldn't phase 1 enroll in those psych classes because they had those reserved seats. So for classes like that, then you would have to wait until phase 2 in order to enroll. The next big thing is being waitlisted for a class. And so I would say that this happens fairly often if you don't plan your class schedules out correctly or if you get a bad enrollment time. So like if you're one of the last groups to be able to enroll, then those classes might be filled up already. But also if the class is full, you could enroll in it but be on the wait list and hope to get off of the wait list, or you can try to take it a different semester. Especially if it's a super famous or super popular class, you don't really need to take it the first semester you're ever in college, but maybe wait a few semesters or years, and then once you get into the higher level status of enrollment, then you have a better chance of getting into the class. And so for any class that you're enrolled in, whether you're waitlisted or not, you need to be going to the first few weeks of that class. So this is important for classes with long wait lists, but typically the first 2 weeks, the professor will take attendance, and if you didn't show up for that class, then even if you're enrolled in it, then you would get dropped from the class because you didn't show up. And if you were waitlisted for the class and you didn't mark your name down on the attendance sheet, then you would get dropped from the wait list. So with classes with long wait lists, they do this so the people that don't show up, they would get dropped from the class, and then the waitlisted students who do show up for the class, then they would be able to get into the class because they took the spot of the people who didn't show. Okay, so now we are screen recording, so I'll walk you through how to get the best schedule possible ever. So basically, I am on this, if you're in the College of Letters and Sciences, you have to take the 7-course breadth requirements. If you're in other colleges, they also have different kinds of breadth requirements that you need to take. So here you can see on this webpage, here are the 7 breadth requirements. You have to take these classes. You can't like skip out of them with AP exams or anything like that. You want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Don't just take major requirements by themselves, and don't just take breadth requirements by themselves, but you can take a class that fulfills both your major requirements and also a breadth requirement. And so if you're a transfer student on this site, they also have some information that you should definitely check out. So you can see what classes that you took at CC, what breadth requirements that they can fulfill. And so something else to note with killing 2 birds with 1 stone, this bullet point right here, you cannot take one class that fulfills 2 breadth requirements. Even if a class does fulfill 2, you would have to like pick which breadth requirement you would want it to fulfill. So you still have to take these 7 courses, but you can do the overlapping major requirement and breadth requirement like I was talking about. So now I went on to this degree requirement page, still for the College of Letters and Sciences, but for the university here on the left-hand side, you can see that you still have to take these other university requirements. No matter what college you're in, you have to take this entry-level writing, the American history and American institutions, and American cultures requirement. And then for the College of Letters and Science, in addition to the 7 breadth classes, you also have to take a reading and composition class, the quantitative reasoning, and the foreign language. But I do believe that these requirements you can skip out with like AP exams and stuff like that. So this is information you should definitely check out now before your phase 1 happens, so you can really figure out, okay, what classes do I need to take and what classes can I skip out of? So when you're looking for classes, I would recommend starting at this webpage, classes.berkeley.edu, and it has the entire list of classes that they're offering for fall 2021. So as you can see on the left-hand side here, there's a bunch of options where you can choose like different fields that you want to restrict your search by. You can do it by like time, units, different kinds of requirements here. And so I'm going to use this to show you all how to find some good breadth classes, because I would say finding breadth classes is harder than just picking the classes that you need for your major, because if you saw my cognitive science and legal studies major videos on my channel, which I'll have linked down below, if you just go to the website for the major that you're interested in, it will list out all of the classes that you need to take. So those are pretty much set for you, but breadth classes is where you get a lot of freedom in picking things that you're interested in. So I'm going to restrict this to just fall 2021, since that's what you all will be choosing your classes for. And then I'm going to scroll down to the breadth requirements, and let's say that we want to find an international studies breadth for fall 2021. So I'm going to click on that, and then you can see here that this search found 101 classes that are being offered for fall 2021 and fulfill your international studies requirement. And so then you can scroll through this list and see all of the classes that are being offered. If we look at this first class here, Advanced Swahili, you can see what the class number is. So if you wanted to search this, you would search up the Africam 15A. So you can see by this class name, 15A, this is a lower division class. But if we scroll down, this next class offered, Sexuality, Culture, and Colonialism, it is called Anthro C147B and also offered as LGBT C147B. You can see because it is a 100 class that this is an upper division class. And so as an incoming student, especially if you're a freshman, you should probably stick to the lower division classes. So anything that is numbered 100 or less is lower division. And then on here you can see like the days that this class is happening. So your lecture, it would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 1 to 2 p.m. And then you can see the number of units it is and is it in person or online for fall. So you can scroll through here, and then if we keep going down, this next class is China. And like I mentioned before with the reserved seating, on here you can see that this class does have reserved seats. So right now it has 24 unreserved seats, and then 19 seats are reserved for anthropology majors. So like I said, you have to be a declared anthropology major in order to qualify to take one of these reserved seats. So yeah, then you scroll through here, read the little descriptions, figure out like, okay, what am I interested in? What am I not interested in? What looks fun and not fun? So I'm going to show you all an example. So here, if you're an intended political science major, this Introduction to International Relations, it is called Poli-Sci 5. And this class, since we searched and we restricted the search to international studies breadth requirements, this class fulfills your international study breadth requirement, and it also fulfills the political science, one of the major requirements that you need in order to declare the major. So this would be one of those class examples where you can kill two birds with one stone. And then we are going to go to berkeleytime.com. This is probably the best site ever. You should definitely note this down because you can look up the catalog, grades, enrollment, about all of the classes at Berkeley. But I like to use Berkeley Time for the grades and the enrollment tabs. So if we go to grades, then if you found some classes, maybe you have like 5 or 6 classes that you're potentially interested in, we are going to search them here. So we can find the Poli-Sci 5 class, and then you can also do it like by instructor or semester. So next semester, Poli-Sci 5 is being taught by Professor Matinock. So we might want to choose Matinock here and then see what was the average grades that students got in this class. So this was for fall 2019 when this professor taught last. And then you can see, okay, is this an easy class? Is this a hard class? And so it looks like the class average was a B+. So that's a pretty good class average. You can see on this chart, a lot of students do get A's and then students get B's, C's. So I would say this class is a good one to take, and I really like looking at the class averages so you can see, okay, is it easy, is it hard, and then if you search by professors, what professor is harder, what professor is easier potentially. So the grades tab is super useful. And then going into enrollment, this is where the strategy comes into play when you are choosing your classes. So we're going to pick Poli-Sci 5 again. And so for fall 2021, that is the upcoming semester. First, I look at the upcoming semester. How full is it already? So, okay. Like I said, the current students have already done their phase 1, so it looks like about 50% of the class is enrolled already, as you can see on the right-hand side here. And then with that, I also like to go back a few semesters, so it looks like this class is only offered in the fall, but I'll click fall 2020, add the class. And then you can see the fall 2020 is this green line, and then the upcoming semester 2021 is the blue line. So I like to go back in the past and check out these line graphs so I can see, okay, when does this class fill up? Does it fill up during phase 1? If it does fill up during phase 1, then you really want to try to enroll in it during phase 1. But as you can see for this class for Poli-Sci 5, it does not fill up until that adjustment period that I was talking about. So then it would get to, like, you can see 100% full, it went back down 98, and then it was at 102% full. So for poli-sci 5, after looking at these graphs, I would say it would be safe to phase 2 the class, because even during phase 2, it didn't really fill up until the adjustment period. So looking at these charts for all of the classes that you're interested in will help you figure out the strategy of when you should enroll in that class. So this class would be something that you could wait until phase 2 to enroll in, because like I said, you have those unit caps, so you don't really want to waste this class on a phase 1 when you can successfully enroll in it during phase 2, because you should save your phase 1 classes for classes that fill up fast. So then you're less likely to be on wait lists for classes. Okay, so I have another example. This is for Econ C110, Game Theory and the Social Sciences. As you can see, it is pretty full right now. So this is day 12. 199 out of the 228 seats are enrolled, and then the wait list is already 94 out of 150 people. So this class honestly probably has those reserved seats. And so this is a class that you would want to phase 1, because probably if you aren't a declared economics major, that is why there's so many people on the wait list. And then you can see, okay, there's similar curves, there's similar lines here, and so it fills up quite quick as well. And so like I was saying, you want to go back in time and look at the past to see, okay, what are the trends? And so that is how you can pick your classes and strategize them. So this would probably be a class that you would phase 1 if you were interested in it. And so after you found the classes that you liked in the last step, then you should go onto Cal Central and then go into your My Academics tab, and then on the right hand side it will have a schedule planner area. And so you should use this resource. I loved the schedule planner because you can go in, you pick the classes that you might be interested in, and then you can find the best schedule possible. In the schedule planner, it will actually allow you to click through all of the options of the class with the lecture and the discussion sections. And so this is important because when you're clicking through, you can find the best discussion section time that fits with your schedule. You might like back-to-back classes. I liked having all my classes back-to-back, so I like to find discussion sections that matched up perfectly with my other classes so I wouldn't have weird gaps in my day. So the schedule planner allows you to do that, and it's great because then you can visualize your schedule because it creates these little schedule graphics. With the schedule planner, you can also send this schedule that you've made into your shopping cart. So when phase 1 and phase 2 happens, you don't need to search for these classes, the class time and the class discussion sections that you want, but because you sent it to your cart, they will automatically appear when it's time for you to schedule classes. So you can just click, 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 and then be done with it. And so that is the end of this video. Definitely let me know if you have any questions down below, or if you have any other videos that you want to see me do. As always, thank you all so much for watching. It really means a lot. Make sure you like this video to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. And so I will see you all next time.